Good morning and good afternoon. Today I'm making this video after Apple just released iPadOS 18. This is the most important feature in my opinion in the calculator app, which includes a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to go over. Most importantly, I want to answer comments from you guys, letting you guys know anything you can do and not do. I'm a student that just graduated from high school, going into college. I am going to be a math and engineering major, and this seems game breaking to me when taking notes. Little disclaimer, I do not have an Apple Pencil. This may look like Apple Pencil. This is a $20 pencil off of Amazon. It works just well, but there's some stuff I can't do. So take that into account. And this is an iPad 2018 iPad Pro. So it's going to be maybe a little slower than the new iPad with the M4 chip or even the M1 or M2 chips. So that's all we have, and I would like to go over some of the things you can do. So first of all, there's a lot of problems, but first of all, I see a lot of videos just doing, let's see, 5 plus 5 equals, and then it shows 10. Duh, right? Obviously you can do this, calculators can do this, it's fine, but what really makes it interesting is that you can add variables. So say I add a is equal to 10. All right, that's cool. Then I can do a plus 5 and then see what that's equal to. All right, still basic, but it does the job for certain stuff. The real question I see a lot of people asking is, can you do more complex stuff? And the thing is, no. Apple said itself that it can only do elementary functions, the functions that are on the normal calculator, and even the scientific calculator. So all of these functions it can do, but things like derivatives, integrals, everything in calculus is going to struggle at least a little bit. There are some examples where it's definitely beneficial to write calculus on here. I'm going to go over that now with you guys. Let's do the integral from 1 to 0 of just the basic function. Let's do x squared plus 1. And of course, we're integrating with respect to x, right? So after using the power rule, you find this is equal to, I'm not going to go over this stuff, this is basic calculus, but this is equal to 1/3 x squared plus x. And we're going to evaluate that from 1 to 0, right? And you see this red, try to zoom in, it's not working, but this red dotted line across, it means equal sign does not, Apple AI does not recognize these two equations as being equal. So it's just like an error. Basically, it's saying my work, you can't validate or invalidate my work, right? But of course, this is true. And then, obviously, I can say that I can plug in 1 as the first one, and then plus 1, and then I can subtract it, evaluating at 0, right? 0 plus 0, right? Basic calculus, we're putting in the 1 here, and then the 0, and then subtracting 0, right? So when you do the math here, you just get that 1/3 plus 1 minus 0, and this, of course, is equal to, it will tell you, 1 and 1/3, right? Or 1.333. That's all fine, but obviously you can do that in your head. What really comes in handy is when the limits aren't so easy. So let's do the same example where that's a different case. Let's change these limits, right? This is going to equal the same kind of formulaic answer that we just got before. So 1/3, and then instead of having 1 there, we're going to have 2.25 to the 3rd power plus 2.25. Right? Then we're going to do minus, we're putting the bottom limit here, 1/3 negative 1.76 to the 3rd power plus, it's going to be plus and minus, so I'm just going to write minus 1.76. All right, and that's the problem. I do not want to do this. These powers right here are scary, right? I don't want to do this. in my head, or I don't want to do 1.7 and times everything out, right? So instead of that, we can say just probably equals here. Oh, I forgot. Another big thing is that this NOSAT does not like brackets. It does not accept brackets. You can only use parentheses. So be careful with that. I don't know why. It's probably because it thinks it's another letter or anything else. I hope they fix this, because brackets do make everything that much simpler. But all right, equal, and it's going to automatically give me the answer. This answer isn't a nice answer, but it is probably the answer. So we can move this where we want. Let's see what I do. Go back to markup. Yeah, so this is going to give me a nice answer that I wouldn't be able to find before. So that's the way I would use this, just to do like redundant tasks of like adding and multiplying when I'm writing out my notes. But I mean, you could just use calculator to do this, but it does help that it does it automatically. It does it really fast, guys. It's really fast. I'm sure it's way faster on maybe the new iPads, but this is the iPad Pro 2018, and it gives me an answer pretty fast, I must say. So if I were to change this answer, I'd probably have to redo it. So let's see how fast it does it now. Wrote the answer. That's, will give me 2 answers, but that's pretty fast. I mean, maybe a second and a half. Let's try that again. It's gonna be 2 answers, but eventually it does flip to the right answer, so that's good. Yeah. So with that being said, I think you can use this concept to generalize anything you want to do. Do the math or the concept first, and then if you get these like long, redundant math expressions, it will automatically give you an answer. So that's how I would look to use this app to be the end, to find the end answer, instead of using it to do all of your math. So with that being said, let's go over a lot of the problems I have with this app. So for example, the variables, they do not want you to write everything as a function. For example, say y equals x plus 8, right? This is a basic linear equation. Close this window. Yeah, so this is a basic linear equation, right? So if I wanted to find what y equals when x is equal to 2, right? Usually you would just say, well, what is y of 2 equal to? And you can see it says an error next to the equal sign. That sucks, which shows 2 problems that I have. One, it doesn't have an evaluation, bars or anything equivalent. Or anything equivalent, right? That is a huge mistake on their part, in my opinion. That's like all of algebra, and that's how I've learned all of algebra. You know, being able to write y of 2, right? What is y when x is 2? This is obviously equal to 2 to the power of 2 plus 8. Then you can write the equals and it will give you your answer. But it just seems so easy to write y of 2, and it doesn't let you do it. Another huge thing, oh, but if you wanted to do this, instead of writing y equals, it will allow you to write just the equation. And then you can say, my brain is dead. You can say x is equal to 2. And then if you write equals here, it will work. But that leads us to our next problem is you have to write the equations on the bottom. Equations on the bottom. That means you have to also write the variables on the top, right? So the reason it's giving me errors here is the equations on the top and be identifying what the variable is equal to is on the bottom, which is very common in my opinion, but I guess not to them. So to fix this, all I have to do is just maybe lasso to this down and lasso this up. And now it's giving me the answer that was supposed to give me a while ago. That's equal to, it's not equal to 10. Oh no. It's oh no, that's not good. It's giving me the wrong answer. Let's erase everything and then rewrite it again. X squared plus 8, and what is that equal to now? 12, right? So just a little bit of error there. Be careful. Make sure you check all your work if you're using it, at least right now in the beta. So that's another kind of weird thing that they have, other than not allowing you to write like y is equal to x squared plus 8 and say what is, let's see, why did I say 2 there? Okay. And not being able to like say what is y of x evaluated at x equals 2, and it will not give you an answer. See, it does not recognize this evaluation bar right here or anything equivalent to it, which is sucks in my opinion. So you have to get used to not writing y equals and just write what it's equal to, and it will give you 12. And of course now, since the variable on the top, if you were to change it to like a 3 or anything else, then it will give you a new answer, the right answer, right? So those are 2 things that I have found that I haven't seen anyone talking about. The fact that you have to write the variable on top and the equation on the bottom if you want to use it, and that it doesn't have any evaluation bars, which it's kind of the biggest shortcut that you can make when using variables, being able to say, you know, what is y when x is 2. But instead of doing that, you can't write y equals. You can't do that. You have to just leave it out and then just write what the equation is, and then write on top what x is supposed to be. And then it should give you the answer. Oops, I wrote too high. Oops, I hate this last one too. It's fine though. Then it should write, of course, what it's equal to. So those 2 main things I have to say about this so far. If you have any questions, I will happily answer them. I am doing nothing. So I just graduated, so I have plenty of time to answer some of your questions. I had a lot of questions, mainly about calculus. Can it evaluate integrals or derivatives? And the answer to that is no. You would have to do that by yourself. But then, of course, evaluating everything, this calculator really does help. In my opinion, sometimes I just want to do the math by myself, but if you don't want to do that, or you can't do it in your head, this definitely helps if you just write everything out. Yeah, so just to review everything that I've found so far is that Math Notes does not identify brackets. So that's huge. Does not identify brackets. So if you're using this, you cannot use brackets. You must use parentheses. You must use parentheses. Don't know how to spell this. I'm just gonna write C's and call it a day. So you must use parentheses. If you're using brackets, that's why you're gonna get an error. If you use brackets, just switch them to parentheses. You can make everything look a little weird if you're used to using brackets, but you must use parentheses. And then secondly, variables must be above equations, right? There must be, what's the word that I'm looking for? I can't remember. The variables must be above equations. So it's kind of like coding. When you code, you have to identify the variable or create the variable basically, and then you can write what you want to do to the variable underneath. It does not go the other way, if that makes sense. You cannot write the equation and then write what the variable is equal to. It's declare a variable. That's what I'm looking for. To declare a variable, it must be above the equation that you want it to be, want it to change, want to impact or influence, right? And then it does not calculate calculus functions, right? Not calculus functions. Calculus functions like the integral or derivative or anything along those lines. I mean, that makes sense to me. It would be hard for them to calculate, for them to add these stuff. They'd have to have so much other math stuff as well. So I like the bare bones of what they added compared to like all the math that they can add. Things like graphs are also very useful and other things like that. Like I said, leave a comment, any questions, I will respond to them. And yeah, have a good rest of your day.